I am resident of Colorado for YouTube. Joel Saints. This is my buddy Patrick McCray. This is my buddy Allan, Gallant. We're here to review Season 1, Episode 5 of Hap and Leonard. And can you say quick escalation leads to more escalation?
Yes, I think that would be the understatement of the week. Yeah, that would definitely.
And it begins with a minstrel show.
Oh, that was like the beginning of the episode. I was like, what the? And then you realize, oh yeah, that's right. It's his childhood. It's happening. We keep getting those references, it's really interesting. And we get some. I watched 2 episodes because I couldn't turn it away. So we get some interesting.
The 6th episode though is just as gripping.
It is. It totally is, and you get a lot more interesting flashbacks too. So,
I was really curious with how quick not just things escalated, but how quick the action was in this episode. I mean, things move at a very rapid pace here in this episode, and very well done by the cinematographer and the cast and crew here. They do a really good job of just. Okay, I know that Howard and them have been together for a while, but just the short time that Jimmy Simpson's character has entered into these guys' lives, they're all clicking on all cylinders.
Sure.
Which I love. Really, really good. When you guys watched this episode, were you shocked at a lot of not the quick place action, because we've seen some violence here too in these episodes, but how far they went with it a bit?
Yeah, I mean you do get a window into the psychoses of Soldier and Angel for sure. But I mean you're covering some new ground here in terms of salacious violence or the threat of it in some cases, and a lot of psychological kind of bullying going on at gunpoint and so on. So it's really kind of it really does keep you just riveted with all of this. What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? That sort of thing. So and they are unpredictable, as we discover throughout the episode. It's weird because.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, Allan. Keep
going. Go ahead.
Well, it is something unpredictable, but by the end, it was right.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not saying that it was unpredictable in a way that didn't make sense for the story or anything like that. Just their energy. He has a weird code, and you can see that code, but then he'll violate that code. On occasion.
It's just unpredictable enough that when he makes Trudy the offer, I had to think as much as she did.
Yeah,
because he could have gone either way with keeping that agreement.
That's correct. That's correct, and that's how the audience is kind of reeled in really intensely in this episode, I think.
And I think the shocking part of this is too, I was surprised that Trudy moved the money. I wasn't expecting the money to be gone when I first watched this. So it's a pleasant surprise you have that little twist. But I love how they get back to the dog kennel where Trudy did not go.
No.
But that was a nice little clever way by the writers to get them to the dog kennel.
Yes.
Really, really cool, really creative idea. And because, Hap says, "Oh, I saw it, the dog shit, on her shoe." It's like,
I mean, true or not, it's a great creative sort of thing, to say, in order to sort of ease the tensions from homicidal back to the money, because at this point, Soldier is getting off on terrorizing people and hurting them. As much as he is trying to find out where the money is. So,
what did you think of that, Patrick? That going back to the dog kennel, them using it as a plot device here.
It was terrific, and I had just forgotten enough about them being attack dogs to forget that that they would have signals, and that would be a very logical signal, and one that Soldier wouldn't predict at first, that it would put him off just a little bit, which is the whole point. And it's very much in keeping with the characters that Hap and Leonard, because I think those are Leonard's dogs, right?
Yeah.
Just back at Leonard's place.
Yes, they're Leonard's dogs.
Yeah,
but obviously Hap knows them very well.
Sure, of course he would. Of course he would. I'm sure he helped pick them out.
Yeah.
And that I just thought it was ideal. I thought it was one, and and they are these, and also just symbolically, they are Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
They're this extension of Leonard's will.
Yeah, ready to go. Yeah, ready to go.
And I loved that. I thought it was just beautiful, and that's a quality that Lansdale has, where he is able to plant a very clean, easy. Oh my God, I should have seen that coming.
Right.
Line to a logical end.
Right.
But he plants it so naturally and so cleverly.
Right.
That you don't pay any attention to it.
Yeah, the references aren't given. The precursor references aren't given with a nod and a wink and a shove in the ribs. It's just part of what's happening in the scene or whatever, and it just goes and flows.
And we haven't seen the dog since the first episode.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was great, and in terms of just the action and the execution of the action, I think it's when what's the name of Soldier's girlfriend? Angel. Yeah.
She looks like a WWE.
She's magnificent.
Diva. I mean, she's
the woman
way bigger than most of the women in the show.
She's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Those fans be nicer to me at those conventions playing her. Anyway, I'd sell more day books. It's her looming over the table. And they would not ask Catherine for that one last autograph. That would not happen.
No.
That would not happen. Angel and Patrick make a formidable team. They really would. Wow, that's a detective team right there.
Right.
Wow.
She just lean over and go, "For you, the book is $40."
Yeah.
No.
And Patrick Oster and Angel as a team.
It's okay, darling. It's okay. We'll get the ring. Don't worry. How about 60? How do you like?
But
do not put that fan through the table. Yeah.
All seriousness aside, she's magnificent. But how she is dispatched.
Oh
is so
my God.
Clean. And
it's also harkens back to Vietnam. That's where you got that training.
The crossbow training.
Yeah. Well, also the no, not the crossbow. I'm
Who does he
thinking.
take out with the crossbow?
What's that? No, that was Hap. That was Hap.
Yeah, I know. Hap takes out
Angel
yes. with the crossbow.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And because we get used to Leonard being the expert in all things.
That's
combat.
right, because oftentimes he is.
But we forget that Hap is extremely well acquitted.
Yeah, he's capable.
And what gets me in that is the utter lack of emotion and total placidity that Purefoy shows in that moment. I mean, his hand doesn't waver a bit. It is as quiet and businesslike and fast. There's no line. There's no Bond-like Bon mot or something like that. It's just, there you go.
He appears at the door, fires the crossbow.
In a very businesslike manner.
Yeah.
By someone who definitely knows what he's doing. Probably because he's hunted for his food a lot.
Yeah, I'm thinking that this is about hunting the crossbow.
Yeah.
Actually, it is. It's a hunter's tool.
Yeah. And I love that moment. It is so clean. It's as clean as ouch.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's that moment of marksmanship with Hap that they talk about in the series when they're in the water and Leonard says to him, "You're a good marksman. You know how to shoot." So
even though he spent a couple of years in jail during the war, he knows how to handle weaponry, obviously, probably from hunting, and so on, growing up. But
it makes you wonder what all he's hunted.
Down there, oh my God, alligator, bear,
Like what's weird here is like you can't kill a bobcat here.
Yeah.
Like you can't kill bobcats here.
No. A lot of times bobcats are protected, and it's not just in Pennsylvania either.
Yeah.
They're you don't usually hunt bobcats.
No.
As a matter of fact, occasionally they get caught in traps, and somebody comes to release them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, he was probably deer hunting. That's what the crossbow. Bow hunting is usually for deer, whether it's crossbow or regular bow, compound bow.
Yeah.
We get a lot of that up in Maine too, just like you probably do in Pennsylvania. So, and Tennessee, I'm sure there's loads of deer hunting in Tennessee.
Yeah, I have very negative feelings about hunting.
I never did it. I grew up around it because I grew up in a non-urban setting, shall we say?
Yeah.
But I never did. I never hunted myself. I used to occasionally help a friend of mine run trap line for muskrat, but I didn't do that very much either. I just happened to need some money that week.
To editorialize for a moment that no one asked for, I have actually more negative thoughts about fishing.
Yeah.
I think here's the thing. For one thing, we have stores where you can get fish, and not that it's less cruel, but it's at least industrialized and understanding that this is for human consumption.
Mm-hmm.
But I think of this fish, often beautiful fish, iridescent, and it's swimming along. And just imagine, you're swimming along and you see this perfect roast beef sandwich, and you think, oh man, I spend all day hunting for this one freaking sandwich, and here it is. It's in front of me. God loves me. This is a hell of. I know fish don't have emotional lives, but it has to be happy.
Yeah.
When it chomps down it, and suddenly it's got this piercing pain in its mouth, and now it's drowning and dangling in midair, and there's some goon with a knife headed towards its stomach, and it's trying to get free, and the pain in its mouth hurts even. I mean, that's a rotten day for that fish.
It's a rotten way to go. Yeah, it's a rotten way to go.
And I'm not an animal rights guy, but it just gives me the creeps.
No,
I just don't like it.
Well, the older I've gotten, and this is just me personally, I certainly don't. If anybody needs to hunt, they can.
Well, of course, Robinson Crusoe has has a pass.
Yes,
but we're not Robinson
Crusoe. The older
Crusoe.
I get, from me, I get really emotionally involved with animal suffering. It just can't. I can't. So.
Yeah, I'm even a little okay with it, if it's someone's deeply embedded part of their spiritual life or something like that. I don't know why, but I can sort of give it a little bit of a pass. But I just think, taking these high-powered, because I've known people who hunted, and I'm sure I know some decent people at work who hunt, and I don't even know it. They're wonderful people. Yeah. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about these bullies. I've known a number of bullies who love nothing more than to take high-powered weaponry into the woods
and blast things
and kill an animal that's just trying to have sex with its mate and take care of things and find some food. I just it just seems creepy.
Yeah, it is. It's people, and for me that's it's like sport hunting for sport. And it's like,
and the more high tech the weaponry gets, the less excusable it becomes.
Well, yeah, because it's not sporting for the animal, and under those circumstances.
No, I mean a turkey call is bad enough, but okay, it's at least goofy, and usually handmade or something. And
it's not the same thing as sitting in a stand and luring that 20-point buck out of the woods with a bunch of food laying at the base of the stand, which you should never do.
I might make an exception for turkeys just because they're assholes.
They are assholes.
Turkeys are really unpleasant animals, and they
they're not pretty.
Father when he was
like
a boy.
Pheasant. Pheasants can be assholes too, but they really look pretty looking birds. Turkeys are kind of just they are.
Leave it in the straw.
So anyway, we figured out that that the hunting acumen of Hap is
it's honest.
Legitimately earned. It's legitimate. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Soldier, he's not so clean. He's driving nails through ladies' hands.
Oh, I mean, this is the whole thing about this whole episode. It's
But
like she's
boy,
going to give it
he
up.
gives them so much notice,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and we'll
He does.
never know what would have happened if they had said, "Okay." Probably the same thing. He probably would have done it anyway.
Well, I was
But
about to say, one of the
maybe
reasons
not.
he gives notice is because he enjoys terrorizing people.
He
enjoys
does.
cranking, jacking them up. And so there's all that going on, before the sudden, possibly unpredictable, lethal move.
Have you guys seen For a Few Dollars More?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The villain that's who Soldier reminds me of a bit here. And he very, very sadistic serial killer.
Yeah. Twitchy.
Yeah.
Psychotic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every bit, every way. He's just a cold-blooded killer, and Angel compliments him in every way.
She is one too. I mean, she's
they found each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does.
I think her death scene is really pretty moving.
Yeah.
It's it's interesting to see some kind of almost normal emotional reaction. Almost. There's something there.
Well, it's kind of like in death or in encountering death. They become human again, if only very briefly.
Yeah.
We talked about Bonnie and Clyde. We read the Bonnie and Clyde death. The people who were there who shot at him said one of the officers had said, I could smell her perfume. He could smell Bonnie's perfume even after she had died.
Yeah.
You know what?
It probably meant she was really putting it on, like by the gallon. So
Soldier even predicts. There's a foreshadowing of her death when he's talking about extreme pain, and he's talking about how nothing suddenly, you're most basic because nothing else matters except making the pain go away. And that's
that's also the acumen and philosophy of a sadistic torturer. They know that to be true. Successful torturers,
the way he's holding her while she's dying is very moving. You could tell he loves her.
In his own way.
In his own way, yeah.
It's not exactly the kind of love that is sort of what average people have.
Speaking of torture, I'm reminded of this thing on DS9 where there's an episode where they're talking about Garrick as torturer.
Oh.
And he was the greatest torturer in the entire Obsidian Order. And that there was this one guy that he took on. He was like the toughest, of whatever, the toughest member of the Tal Shiar and whatnot. And that all Garrick did was employ silence and staring.
Yeah.
He took an hour and he just stared at the guy. And there was just something about the way Garrick did it. That by the end of that hour, the guy was confessing to everything, and he never laid a single finger on him.
Yeah, the power, the psychological power. Power is something actually that's best not wielded, but known to be wieldable.
That's a piece of direction that I give kids a lot when they are playing characters in positions of power, because their urge is to always yell and scream and threaten. And I said, no, you don't do that because you don't have to.
Right.
That's what being
Everybody
in power
knows
means.
that you have power. So all you have to do is infer it. That's all.
Yeah, the lighter the touch in those cases.
Yeah.
It speaks softly and carry a big stick.
Indeed.
Yeah, sorry, my dog is barking. That's why I have my mic.
Okay.
What are you doing to it?
He's not speaking softly, but he's carrying a really big barking stick.
I'm not doing anything to that dog. I'm sitting there.
We don't see it from the waist down, Jewel.
That's right. It's sort of like Elvis on Ed Sullivan. You do not see it from the waist down.
What Elvis was doing to Ed Sullivan from the waist down could not be televised.
Well, that's why for years afterwards, Ed sort of
Did you
protected
It is,
himself.
did you see
He was
that interview?
defending himself.
A
He
big
knew that
chew.
Elvis could come back at any moment.
Yeah.
Milton
Did you-
DeLug was not going to be there to help him.
Uh-huh.
Did you see that interview where Alice Cooper was talking about the time he met Elvis Presley?
No.
I'll send it to you. It's really funny.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll send it to you both.
I know Andy Kaufman met Elvis, and Elvis said that Andy was his favorite Elvis impersonator.
Yeah, cool. This is a bit funny because Alice Cooper's talking about how there's like two angels. So yeah, do it, yeah. And then Elvis had him on the ground as far as start because Elvis knew karate and stuff.
Yes,
it's hilarious.
Steve Martin talks about meeting Elvis too, and Elvis was like handing him guns and saying, "Look at this cool gun," and all this.
Yeah,
That's great.
oh my god.
And of course, Steve's going, "Oh, that's nice, Elvis."
What's you guys' favorite scenes in this episode?
Right now, all I can think about is the dog scene, Jewel.
Yeah. Where the tables seem to be at least temporarily turned. It was also a break. It was a cathartic break. The dog's going for him. Thank God. It's that kind of thing. So that pivot, that pivot's very important for an audience sake as well. Even though it doesn't really resolve anything, it does for a second. It does for a second. It's like throwing a joke into a tragedy every once in a while. You kind of got to do something like that to lighten the mood. But yeah, this thing was the overall arc for me. That anxiety, that tension. You get to see the character of these people really pushed, because of these two marauding murderers, and everybody knows what they're capable of. And we get to see a comeuppance of sorts in this episode too. So
Yeah,
it's our good friend Howard.
yes,
Yeah.
He gets wiped, and it is a fitting and sudden end for Howard. It also frees Trudy completely at that point, although she's still Trudy, as we find out in the very near future.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like how he just shoots Howard. You're a hippie, Howard. Bam.
Yeah.
But Soldier is very much a man of simple means. He's very straightforward. Like he's going to shoot you, he's going to shoot.
Oh yeah, his psychosis. His psychosis isn't really particularly civil once he gets going.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that much of a veneer. He has a veneer because he's intelligent. So he has a veneer of intelligence. But his social veneer is very easily discarded in favor of dominating and terrorizing and doing all of those things. So.
It is a character I want to read a biography of.
Yeah.
To see how he gets that way. How does someone
really? What happened when he was
who does have that social veneer?
Yeah.
And does have house training. How and the great Memphis school suits.
Oh yeah, that's his intelligence, his intellect. He understands how to portray that because he did have to learn it at some point in his life. But he's also very comfortable with discarding it at a moment's notice. He'll let it go.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good episode. Really, really good episode.
It was great. I mean, it's if anyone was worried about a slow spot in the show leading up to it, Lansdale hands them their lunch.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. It's everything. Nothing is wasted. Let's put it that way. Nothing is wasted.
Now, a suggestion I have, we certainly can do a show on it, but I would say in between the seasons, because I would love to see the other two seasons with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
There's a movie to look up, and I think it's made by the same guys, and it's based on a Lansdale novel that is also brutal, but it's not the same story. It's called Cold in July.
Hmm. Still set in that Southwest Texas kind of milieu.
Yeah, he wrote it around the time that he wrote Savage Season, which I think Savage Season was just supposed to be a standalone. I don't necessarily think he was intending to start a Hap and Leonard franchise.
Right. Yeah, this is the first, by the way, that I've ever heard of Lonsdale before you guys introduced this series.
Well, he wrote Bubba Hotep.
Yeah. Then, but I didn't. It just went right over. Writer went right over my head.
Always.
I was so focused on the acting and the characters and everything that I didn't even at that point. I writer, director, producer. I don't give a shit.
Is that organic?
Yeah.
2014 movie. It's on Tubi.
There you go. So we can do that maybe after we finish season 1.
Yeah. I would love to.
Yeah.
And there's another movie, maybe between seasons 2 and 3, if you feel like it. It's a new movie with Peter Dinklage, and it's a Western. It's got a one-word title, and it's got someone. It's a Western with an incredibly uglified Juliette Lewis, which is an impossible feat.
Yeah.
It's one of those beautiful women in Hollywood, but they somehow managed to do it.
Yeah.
She was frighteningly like her father. And it was one of my favorite actors, despite them being Scientologists. How? Why, Jeffrey Lewis? Why?
I know, but he was brilliant, and of course
God
he was
damn it,
part
he was
of.
good.
Yeah, he was really good. The first thing I think I ever saw him do was one of Clint Eastwood's movies because he was part of his ensemble cast.
He was.
A number of.
He
movies.
was. He's just terrific.
Yeah.
And so good in Devil's Rejects.
And Salem's Lot.
Oh God.
Where he has to become a vampire, and
yeah,
the whole thing. It's really that whole scene was like that was one of the scariest scenes when the old man walks through the door and he turns and his eyes start reflecting back at him like a cat. It's like okay,
yeah,
we are in business. Yeah.
That book still has passages so scary, I skip over them when I read it. All the stuff about the baby.
Yeah.
The
Stand has a lot of that kind of stuff in it too, although it's mostly gross out stuff in the Stand.
What does?
The Stand.
Oh yeah.
It has a lot of those kind of passages in it. King was for a number of years the king of not only spine chills but also grossing you out.
Very effectively.
Yeah.
I mean, very.
It's horror. It's like body horror or that kind of horror. And it I mean, it's obviously something that warped his mind when he was a kid going to see. I had a few professors who I asked them. I said, "What's going to be remembered culturally about the 20th century, 400 or 500 years from now?" And independently, they all mentioned the same two things. They said, quite seriously, they said The Simpsons and Stephen King. Stephen King, yeah.
And
because they're so ubiquitous. They're so ubiquitous and popular that they make an enormous imprint, and there will be media of them even
forever
that far into the future. So
they show how we live. They very accurately, far more than Norman Rockwell, show who we are and how we live and what we value.
Yeah.
Is there anything you guys want to add before we go?
This episode is a great setup for the next episode, which is an equally great episode.
And I mean, a denouement should not be as marvelous and gripping and must watch the next frame after frame after frame as episode 6 is. But damn it, he does it. I mean, the danger is gone, but
here's all the fallout, and here's this, and here's that, and the emotional wreckage is. I mean,
I tears as I'm watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Link to Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows Day book about it's going to be in the description box. Link to Allan Gallant's YouTube channel, Collins Sport After Dark, is going to be in the description box. The plot synopsis, I'm going to put in the description box. It's because the plot synopsis are too long to put in the title. But if you want the plot synopsis for this episode, it's in the description box with the links for these two gentlemen's stuff. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow for episode
6.
Yeah,
That's
6.
wonderful.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Take care.
Have a safe
Bye.
night, guys.
Bye.
Bye.